Good morning guys. Welcome to Power Up 365. I hope you guys are doing awesome. So today, I want to share this video with you guys because as I'm getting ready to coach people, a lot of people are phoning, Johnny, let's have a strategy session. Let's look at how 2026 is going to go. And that could be in your personal life and that could be in your business. Now, what we specialize mostly is business, right? But everything is a business. Everything is a business. Now, if you go into your personal life, we focus on three key areas. Remember, what are the three key areas? I always speak about myself. What do I want for myself in 2026? What do I want for my relationships? And what do I want for my value? My value, right? Value is business. Now, what do we speak about value? I want to become valuable to the marketplace. I want to add value to the marketplace. And in order to add value to the marketplace, I have to become valuable. That means I have to invest in myself. So they asked Warren Buffett, what is the best investment you can do? Invest in yourself. That's why I keep telling people, how many books are you reading? What are your habits? What are your strategies? What is your calendar? How do you wake up? What are your morning rituals? These are things that you are investing in yourself. Because if you invest in yourself and you get your mind right, you are going to become more valuable to the marketplace. And if you become more valuable to the marketplace, you can add value and therefore your career, your business, everything gets better. So, over the years, I have the I International Group. So I've built the I International Group. We're going for 21 years. And I started that off as a chartered accountant, right? So I started my chartered accounting firm, and that is one of our main companies. And then what happened is people started coming and we started doing people's financial statements, and I saw they were missing something. You must remember, financial statements is looking historically. It's looking what has happened in the past, what is your profits, what are your expenses, which is very important. I call that accountability. Let me hold you accountable to your dreams, right? Very important. If you don't know the numbers of your business, you don't know your business. If you don't know the numbers of your personal life, hey, I want to lose weight, okay? What do you currently weigh now? What did you do this week? What did you eat? What did you go for? You've got to know that stuff, right? So that is important to know. The language of business is accounting. You've got to know the scoreboard. And if you do not know that there's nothing holding you accountable, are you moving in the right direction in your business? You've got to have accountability. So the other thing is, then I started saying, guys, what is the plan? What are we going for? And I realized people do not get coached. People do not have a strategy. People do not have a plan. They just keep going, doing the same things all the time. And their plan is a small plan. It's not a zero up plan. So I have the zero up, which I say you gotta zero up. So that means if you currently at 10 properties, how do I get to 100 properties? That's a whole different ballgame. If I'm currently at 10,000 Rand turnover, how do I get to 100,000 Rand turnover? If I'm currently at 100,000 Rand turnover, how do I get to a million Rand turnover? Different ballgame, different mindset, different strategies. Everything changes when you start zeroing up your life, but you do get excited. You start feeling alive. Going after a zero up game. You start feeling alive. You start saying, shit, this is exciting. And the first thing that happens, you have no cooking clue how to do it. You have no cooking clue how to do it. Right? That's the first thing. You have no cooking clue on how to do it. And this is important. So I want to talk to you guys when I'm coaching people. and I'm talking to them and I'm saying, listen, the first question I'm asking is, what do you want? What do you want? Right? What do you want? Right? So you've got to say, what do you want? And then you got to, when you ask someone, what do you want? You got to leave the past. You got to leave the past, because your past does not equal your future. Your past does not equal your future. You got to get rid of the past. So if I ask you, what do you want? What do most people do? What do you want? They immediately go to their current circumstances. And whenever you go to what you want and you zero up your life and you're going for something greater in the future, and you go for it and you keep going to your current circumstances, you will check out. You won't go for it. Immediately you'll find a reason to check out. That's exactly what's going to happen. Why? Well, your current results is based on your current conditioning. You see, your current conditioning has got you the current results. So what happens is, you go for something better, greater, you zero up your life. As soon as you zero up your life, as soon as you say, I want something better for my life, I want to be happier, I want to be more fulfilled, I want a better relationship with my family, with my kids, I just want more. Immediately you go to your current results. I want more money. You go to your current bank statement, and your current bank statement is telling you a story based on your current results and your past history. And therefore you say, who am I to want that? Right? Who am I to want that? And the next thing you go into how. And as soon as I'm coaching someone, as soon as I'm coaching a business, and as soon as they go into how, I know they're going to check out. And I have a saying, how is none of your business at this stage of the game. Because if you knew how to get there, you would have got there. And as soon as you look at how, I want to go, I'm currently making 10,000 Rand, I want to make 100,000 Rand. If you go look at how, you're out. You're out. I don't know how to do it. Well, if you knew how to do it, we wouldn't be speaking, right? If you knew how to make an extra million, 2 million, 10 million in your business, we wouldn't be speaking. But the thing is, as soon as you move into a how, you check out. Because you do not know the how. You do not know the how. So why tap into the how right now? You've got to step out of it now. Now you're going into what you want. Okay. So then, most people think they are so unique. So you say, I want to build a business and go and tenfold it. I want to zero up that business. I want to get more clients. I want to get that. So now we need a strategy. We need to build a strategy for what you want. We need to get a strategy. And I always tell people, I'm a master strategist. I walk into a business with problems, with issues, and I build a strategy on how to get to the other side. Most times people are coming to me, they want to grow their businesses, they don't have the resources, they don't have the money, they don't know how they're going to do it and all that. And I'm always saying, listen, let's build the strategy. Where do we get the strategy for? Well, success leaves clues. Success leaves clues. People have done it before. Now, why? It's not by chance that I'm so good at this. It's because I've been doing this for 21 years and have consulted to thousands of clients. And what do you think? Do you think I've picked up patterns? Do you think I've picked up patterns over the 21 years on what other people have done, and then I say, listen, maybe we can do that, maybe we can do that, let's bring this together, what can we do, can we go to a bank, can we negotiate, can we do that? Oh, well, you know what, maybe we need to reset this business, maybe we need to reset this business. And we look at all these different scenarios on on the strategy to get there, right? But success leaves clues. So I first go into what? I go into strategy, right? Now this strategy is not the current how. It's a new strategy. It's based on success. It's based on success. Because success leaves clues. Success leaves clues, right? And here comes the problem. I know what you want. I've helped you build a strategy to get there. Why will most people fail to follow through on the strategy? And let me tell you, it's at different levels. I go through the same thing. I need help for the same thing. And someone has to help me to keep being held accountable. To not go into my story. We all have a story, right? So now I need to look at what's going to hurt this strategy. Because I decided what I want. I did not tap into the how. I did not look into my current circumstances. I went into what do I want. I built a strategy, right? So now I don't say we ignore how. Right? Because the strategy is part of it, but I don't look at how, at want. Right? So part of strategy, before I even get there is, when I say what do I want, before I even get to strategy, I have to go, what do I have to do? Why? Why do I want it? If you have a big enough why, you will get the how. So if you think about it, the strategy is the how, right? But the why is something deep inside, right? So what do I want and why do I want it? These are two fundamental things. This is the foundation. You know when you're building a house, you've got to get the foundation right. That's the foundation. What do I want? Be very clear, be very specific, move into a direction of what I want, then why do I want it? The why is the most important. Most important is the why. Why do you want to be successful? Because why do you need food on the table? Because my kids are going to go hungry. I will not allow my kids to go hungry. Great, that's a big why. That's a big why. I want to be an example of possibility. That's why we speak about under myself. You've got to have under myself, my relationships and my value. There is a driving force. There is a driving force. And the driving force is your vision, your mission, and that. You need to be clear. What is the vision? What is the mission? What do you stand for? What are you going to represent? You've got to be very clear on that, right? And so, what do you want and why do you want it? Strategy, right? So, I go and say, what do you want? Why do you want it? What's the strategy? We'll build the strategy. We'll find the how. Now, is that good enough? No, it's not. Nothing happens. Nothing happens in life if you do not take action. Nothing happens if you do not take action. Then we're just speaking. Then we just, great, I'm going to do this. Well, by when? What are you going to do this week? What will you do today? What action plans are you going to do? You know, when in our teams we have this thing, what do you feel like saying? And at the end of the questions we say, okay, so what is your plan this week? What are you going to do this week? What are you going to do? You have this plan, you have a how, you have a strategy, so what you're going to do this week. You want to lose 10 kilograms? You want to be healthier? You want to be happier? You want to make more money? Well, let's build a strategy on each of those things. Once we've built a strategy, okay, so what does it mean that you want to lose weight? You've got to go to gym. Okay, so what are you going to do this week? What actions? I'm going to wake up at 5 o'clock. I'm going to go to gym. I'll be back at 7 o'clock. What exercise are you going to do? Well, I'm going to do this program. Okay, when are you going to eat? Well, I'm going to eat at 8 o'clock. I'm going to eat this. This is what I do. This is a program I'm going to do. If you don't take action, you can have a strategy, but you need an action plan. And you need to take action. What keeps you going action? Accountability. You've got to have someone to hold you accountable. I will do this. I will push through. You've got to have that, right? Now, here comes the next thing. Why do people not follow through? Why do people not follow through? Right? There is a story. There's a story why you don't follow through. I can give you can have a why, you can have a strategy, you can have accountability, and every week when I come back to you and I say to you, did you follow through? You're not going to follow through, and you're going to have a story. And that story is stopping you from going through. And what is part of that story? Blame. Justification. Right? You're always blaming the world. You know, bad things always happen to me. This always happens to me. No good will ever happen to me. And so you prevent the action because you have a story of your life. You're a victim. You're a victim. You're a victim of your life. You always have a story, you're a victim, and that's why things never go your way. Because I can hear the way you talk. I can hear that you're blaming, that you're justifying. And you've had this story most of your life because something bad happened, and that can be true. It can be true. You could have been gone through a hard upbringing, you could have gone, but that story is holding you back. That story is preventing you from going forward. That story will keep taking away your dreams. That story. And you've got to understand that you've got to come over the story. And that's why a good coach is result-based and not story-based. The best people who get the results out of people don't entertain stories. Most of my staff over years have come to me and said to me, I'm unreasonable. You fucking believe it, I'm unreasonable. I'm unreasonable in my expectations. I do not hang around negative people. I do not blame. I do not justify. I decide what I'll do and I keep going and I keep going. Do I fail? Of course I fail. Do things always work out? No. But I keep going. I keep going. And I know if you keep going, by law, you've got to become successful. But if you have a story about everything in your life, about everything bad that's holding you back, that's never happening, if you have a story, you fucked. Because that story will keep blowing up all your goodness, will take away your success. That story, get over your story and identify your story. Identify the story in your life. Identify what is the story that's taking away your greatness, your life. What is your story? Right? You got to empower yourself. How do you empower yourself? You got to get into state. State. What does state mean? Well, physiology. Get up. Get going, get moving, right? Every single day I go to gym. It's more than just health. It's about getting into state, getting focused, feeling good, man. Deciding what I want for the day. I'm stepping up. I'm powering up. That's why I call this Power Up 365. Every single day, I get into state. Why? Through physiology. Number one, physiology. If you are slacking, if you are down, if you're not powered up, if you don't have energy, if you're not going for things, this story will kill you. You've got to push through. You've got to power up. You've got to get going. You better get into a great physiology. That's part of state. Number two, you've got to be 100% focused. You've got to be 100% focused on what you want. You've got to learn to say no to most things. You focus, you're going for what you want, you keep focusing on it. Right? 100% focused on what you want. I'm building a great business, man. I'm going to buy these properties. I'm going to do that. This is what focus. Don't distract me. I'm 100% focused. I'm 100% focused. That's where you've got to be. Your focus. What you focus on expands. What are most people focused on? They focus on their story. They blame. They justify. They are victim. That's what they focus on. That's what they become. Absolutely nothing. Their life doesn't change. They are just focusing on victimizing, blaming, justification. All these people will watch the news and take the bad thing and say, the government, this and that and that. And they sit there and they live there and they suck the life out of everything they touch because they can't get over their story. And if you can't get over your story, you are fucked. You will be a victim of circumstances. You will not be valuable to no one. You will just bring everyone down wherever you go. You are not valuable. But you have the power. You have the power to let this go. You have the power to change the story. You have the power to change the story to an empowering story. To an empowering story. Now we're talking. An empowering story. I was born with greatness. There's greatness in me. I can do whatever I decide to do. Everything that comes to me comes from a higher power for me to do. I'm powerful beyond measure. I'm a leader of choice. Everything I do and choose will be successful. That's my story. Every failure that I encounter is not a failure. It's a learning experience, preparing me to get better. Now you're starting with incantations. We do that a lot. We design incantations, and every single morning, my daily rituals, I get focused. I do these incantations, these rituals, and I say, and I put my hand on my heart, and I say, I'm powerful beyond measure. Get out the way, Day. I'm coming through. You got to be powerful, man. You got to get into state, right? You got to get into state. Physiology, you got to get your health organized, man. You got to get your health. If you want to live a great life, you got to get healthier. If you want to get a great life, you got to be focused. And the last thing is language. How do you speak? What language? I can go into a company and I can see if I can turn that company around. Why? I listen to the people. I listen to the language the people are talking. That language tells me the state they are in. That language tells me if they have a story. That language tells me that they will never take action because they always say, I'm going to try. I will see. Not, we will get it done. Sir, consider it done. Yes, we will get it done. It's disempowering action plan. I can see from the language pattern. That's why in an organization, you've got to ban certain language. You do not use try. You do not use maybe. You either do it or don't do it. You get very focused. You get into state. You power up. You move forward. That's the way you take on a day. That's the way you take on a week. That's the way you take on a life. But you be very, very clear. So guys, I hope this makes sense to you. I hope this makes sense to you on how do you go from deciding what you want to getting the results. From getting the results you want. There is a way. You can decide what you want and you can get the results, but you've got to go through these ways. Right? You've got to go through this way. Thank you very much, guys. This is John Eliades, your ultimate success strategist, and I will see you at the top. It's time to power up. Let's get going. Let's make sure 2026 is one of the greatest years you've ever had. Let's get going. Let's power up. Cheers. Bye.